connecting the dots in early childhood education. Today's video will be all about teaching shapes accurately to young children, and specifically we'll be focusing on the rhombus. We're going to be talking about teaching shapes accurately to young children, focusing on the rhombus. So, how to describe a rhombus? I first want to talk about the fact that many of us may have been teaching this shape as a diamond, but technically the correct and accurate geometric name for this shape is rhombus, and I challenge you to really start using the name rhombus in your classroom. In terms of how we're going to describe the rhombus, there are only a few things that we want children to know. First, a rhombus has to have 4 straight sides that are all the same length. Again, it can be helpful for children to practice making straight sides with their arms so that they begin to internalize the concept of a straight side. We also want them to know that a rhombus has to be closed. Like all shapes, there can be no holes. And optionally, you may want to teach children that the opposite angles of the rhombus are the same. Again, the opposite angles of the rhombus are the same. So now that we've talked a little bit about the language to describe the rhombus, let's look at a few examples. Like all shapes, we want to show children a wide variety of rhombuses, different sizes, different orientations. The photo on the left, or the shape on the left, is the orientation that children often see in books, in different early childhood media. However, when they begin to see rhombuses like the middle or the one on the right, they may begin to get mixed up and they may not recognize those shapes as rhombuses. Therefore, it's really important to spend a good bit of time talking to children on how they can check if it's a rhombus. Is it closed? Does it have 4 straight sides that are all the same length? Are the opposite angles the same? If the answer is yes, then it's still a rhombus, no matter how we turn it. And this is something that you want to show children and you want to talk about often so that they don't get too caught up in orientation and size when figuring out if a shape is a shape. If a shape looks a little bit funnier or a little bit different than what they're used to, it's good to have them rely on their knowledge around the properties of the shape to figure out if a shape is in fact a shape, or in this case, if a rhombus is in fact a rhombus. One last point that I want to remind you of is, remember, the square is a really special shape. And if you watched my video about rectangles and squares, you may recall me talking about this. The shape you see on the screen is a square. It's also a rectangle, and it's also a rhombus. But for this video, for the sake of focusing on the rhombus, let's talk about why is it a rhombus? Well, let's go through the list. Does this shape have 4 straight sides that are all the same length? Yes. Does this shape have any holes? Is it closed? Well, it doesn't have any holes and it is closed, so yes. And are the opposite angles of this shape the same? Yes. Therefore, this is a rhombus. No matter how it's turned, this shape is a rhombus. It's also a rectangle and it's also a square, no matter how we turn it. But for this example, I specifically wanted to focus on rhombus. I hope this makes things a little bit more clear for you. I know it can feel a little bit tricky getting into all the nitty-gritty of geometry, but the great thing about these Teaching Shapes Accurately videos is that you can watch them again and again. And the more you watch them, the more you'll start to understand them. If you have any questions though, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, when we teach shapes accurately, we are setting up our learners for success. To find out more, please visit our website or check out all of our social media links, which can be found at the slide at the end of the video. See you next time. Bye-bye.